Welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. My name is Molly McGrath, and I am the creator of this office altering podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. As always, you can check us out at hiringandempowering.com. I am so excited about today's guest. We have, oh my goodness, wait until you hear about today's program. First time I heard about it, one of my good buddies, another fellow HTM attorney, had shared with me about the program, the Employee Retention Credit. And I'm so excited for Adam to talk to us today about this. Adam's the founder of Rust Belt Law. And Adam, you by and large focus on business law, correct?
Right. That's primarily what we do.
Yeah. And I had heard about what you're doing at HTM LQM, I think back in, September, October, was it?
October, yep.
October, yeah. And everybody was going crazy about it. And all that my attorney friends were telling me about that. So tell everyone a little bit about your program.
Yeah. So I got to give you some of the history so you understand why it's such an interesting opportunity. It all starts with the pandemic and the laws and programs that came out as part of that. So when they passed the CARES Act right at the beginning of the pandemic, they created PPP loans, which everybody went nuts about. They created or changed EIDL loans, which a bunch of people went out and got. And then they created this tax credit. But at the time, you could not get a PPP loan and get this tax credit. So everybody ignored it because it seemed too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I did not ignore it because it actually seemed like it could be more money than a PPP loan, but nobody would listen to me. So fast forward later in the pandemic, and honestly, I don't even remember, I think it was in March of this year, March of 2021, passed another act, and suddenly they said, you can do both. You can get this tax credit and get a PPP loan. So that's when I drank about 800 gallons of coffee and started developing this program and started marketing it. So yeah, since March of this year, we've been going bonkers with this. So let me give you an idea of how it works, how much money it can be, and then your listeners will understand. So I'm going to talk about the numbers first because that's the exciting part, and we'll get people hooked on that, and then we'll talk about the boring legal stuff and how you qualify. So for 2020, the tax credit, it's a refundable tax credit. So that's like the child tax credit. It doesn't matter how much you paid in taxes. The IRS will send you a check for the balance. And for 2020, it's up to $5,000 per employee. The real calculation is it's 50% of wages up to $10,000, but up to $5,000 per employee. For 2021, and it's only the first 3 quarters of 2021 because there was a change, it's up to $7,000 per employee per quarter. So wow. If you're eligible, a $26,000 check from the government for every employee that you have. Now, of course, subject to and conditioned on and all the math and blah, blah, blah. But that's the potential here. So huge dollars, right? I mean, we're helping people get this for one employee. We're helping firms qualify for millions of dollars for this tax credit. So yeah, really big deal. And unlike the PPP and unlike EIDL loans and unlike so many other programs, you can spend the money however you want when you get it. There's no restriction. So honestly, our biggest challenge in selling these services to other people, including law firms, is convincing them that this is real because it seems too good to be true. So that's the math. The challenge is on qualifying. So there are 2 ways to qualify. And this is a really important point because if you don't hear this properly, you're going to misunderstand, and that it's a key point. And there's a ton of misunderstanding about this. One way to qualify is to have a really big revenue decline. We're talking 50% or 20% compared to 2019. And it's a quarter by quarter analysis. But anyway, a really big revenue decline. Our clients that own restaurants and venues and places like that, it's pretty easy for them to hit those numbers. But many of our law firm clients were actually flat or they grew through the pandemic. Yeah. So the other way to qualify is to show that the government shutdown orders had a really big impact on your business, effectively prevented you from doing your jobs or required really substantial changes. We're working with a lot of firms, for example, when courthouses are shut down or when they're making you operate over Zoom instead of in person, there can be an argument made there. So 2 ways to qualify: either the revenue decline or you're affected by the shutdown orders. And the problem is a lot of people, a lot of well-meaning accountants and well-meaning lawyers think it has to be both, but it's not an and. It's not revenue decline and shutdown orders. It's or.
Oh,
so or. It is it's a huge misconception. Accountants, I can see their faces go white when I explain this over Zoom because they go, holy crap, how many of my clients have I misled because I didn't read the law closely enough to see or instead of and? So that's it. I mean, it's a huge amount of money. It's something that not a lot of people took the time to study and understand. And there's some legal work involved. This isn't typical accounting work because you're taking the tax law and analyzing that based on the facts of each client that you work with to decide whether or not they qualify. There's some gray area, as we all like to work in as attorneys. So it's been a huge opportunity for us for exactly that reason.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Why would a law firm not even apply for this or investigate this? I know. Go ahead. One
reason is because it seems too good to be true. Another reason is because they're getting really bad advice from someone. And not because I don't know, they're getting really bad advice. And that's how we set this up. When we work with our clients, we're working in essence on a contingency. So if we look into it, we'll crunch the numbers on the revenue decline. We'll talk to you and do the analysis on the shutdown orders. If you don't qualify, we don't charge you anything. So there is no reason not to do it. I mean, but a lot of people are talking themselves out of it because, again, there's a firm that was referred to us by another law firm. This guy has never heard of me. He's never heard of this tax credit. He practices family law. And after we did the math, I said, yeah, we're going to get you $1 million. How would you trust that? Like that is not something that happens to people, that some stranger to whom you were referred is going to give you $1 million in some program that you've never even heard of. So yeah, that's the biggest reason, is it just seems too good to be true. I'll tell you the other reason that people don't want to pursue it is because it seems so great. They're worried about being audited. It's a tax program. The IRS is involved, obviously. So they're worried about being audited. And that's another reason why our law firm is so well positioned to do this. We are issuing opinion letters to each of our clients saying, here's the law, here's the analysis of your situation. We think you qualify for these periods for the quarter. So we that type of tax opinion letter can help clients avoid penalties if in fact they do get audited. Because that's the first thing you're going to show the auditor if they knock on your door. If they knock on your door, hey, I talked to a lawyer, they reviewed it, they said I qualify. Well, that auditor or that person doing the review from the IRS is going to realize that you have your act together more than some other people that have just. We've seen some payroll companies automatically apply for this for some people and really, really screw things up for them.
Oh, wow. So let's take the family law guy. He says, all right, let's do this. Let's go for it. And how long from the time that you get the ball rolling to when he'll see that money?
Oh, it takes forever. So there's two parts. Obviously, the service that we offer is full service. So we do the calculations and amend your returns for you. But that means we're looking at every payroll record back to March of 2020 and doing the calculation for each and every employee. So that takes some time, obviously. And then when you send it into the IRS, when this started, the estimates were 6 weeks to 6 months. Now we're hearing 6 months to 9 months. So unlike some of the other programs like the PPP and the EIDL, this isn't the immediate cash infusion that people needed to survive the pandemic. I'd look at this instead as your reward. You struggled through the pandemic, you pivoted, you made your business work, you kept people on payroll, you retained your employees. So here's your reward for it. And the day that it does show up, either as a check or a direct deposit, you're going to be glad that you suffered through all of this.
So 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, heck, who cares? Like, to your point, it's a reward, and the money shows up precisely for you to invest back into your business.
Right.
However you want, no restrictions.
You don't even need to put it in the business. If you want, I mean, obviously there may be some income tax implications, but yeah, if you're a law firm owner and you get a check for $1 million, go buy your vacation house if you want to. You don't have to spend it a certain way. Now, obviously, it's good to reinvest in your business, but for some businesses, they don't have a business plan in place to even know what to do with that much cash. They'll invest some of it, but a lot of this is more money than a lot of people have seen in one transaction like this.
Wow. So how'd you find, you found out about this, and then you just did a deep dive and holy, like you said, 6 gallons of coffee and turned every stone over to find the loopholes?
Yeah. I mean, we're a business law firm, and we do better when our clients do better. So when the pandemic started, we went nuts. We studied everything, every update to the CARES Act and everything else related to that, every PPP update. And we actually, through the pandemic, grew our email list from about 500 people to 10,500 people. Because we just had so many people opting in for the great information that we were sharing. So we developed a pretty good reputation. Then we helped a lot of people in a lot of really big ways, and just kept that momentum going with this tax credit.
Oh my goodness. I am so delighted to share this with, I know 100% of our listeners have taken advantage of that PPP program, et cetera. So talk to us a little bit about the process. So I'm listening to this. It's going to hit, January 2022. I'm going to get it out and put it right at the top of my podcast schedule, because every business owner needs to know about this. Every lawyer needs to know about this. Now what? What do I do if I'm sitting here in 2022 and I want to go down this journey? What do I do from a place of what's next?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about this too. Initially, when the credit was created, you could qualify through the end of December of this year. And then more recently in the infrastructure bill, they eliminated the fourth quarter, so you can't claim it. So a lot of people hear that and say, gosh, if I didn't apply by the end of the third quarter, I don't get it. And that's not true. The way that we're doing it for 99% of our clients is we're amending the returns they already filed. And this is we're going to get really far into the weeds, but this is a payroll tax credit. So it's not an income tax credit, it's payroll tax. So we amend your 941s, if anybody's familiar with what those are. We do the calculation. There's a new form, a 941X. So we amend the returns for whatever quarters, second, third, fourth of 2020, first, second, third of 2021. And you have up to 3 years from the date that you filed those returns to do the amendments. So we've still got a window here. Nobody needs to freak out about any pending deadlines. This is not like the PPP where there's a limited fund available. This is, I don't want to get too political, but this is the Treasury Department's bottomless pit of cash that they can continue to hand out. So, plenty of time to get it done. Plenty of time to consider whether you want to pursue it, get your ducks in a row. Because again, it is a new program. There is going to be some enforcement that happens. So having a good file in place, documenting your calculations and why you claimed it, can obviously help protect people.
So where do I go? How do I get started? What's the next step? Scheduling a call?
Yep. So we've documented the top 10 misconceptions because we heard them so much. And so we've got on our website, rustbeltlegal.com/credit It's a landing page that's got the top 10 misconceptions. You can book a free intake call right there, and someone from our team will talk to you for a little bit and tell you whether it's even worth pursuing it or not. And then if it's worth pursuing, we do a refundable deposit, like I said. And if we can't help you, we send the deposit back. And there have been a handful of firms that just won't qualify. But most firms are pleasantly surprised at what we're able to do here.
How long? So what do our attorney friends need to have with them to be prepared for this call? And how long will the call be about? How long in length?
It's a 10-minute call, and you don't even need, if you know your numbers, if you know your revenue numbers, great. But honestly, I know enough lawyers and the way that they know their numbers. I don't want to rely on what you think your numbers are. If you think there's a decline, we'll do the math for you. If you've been affected by court shutdowns, immigration service center shutdowns, we're seeing DUI lawyers. There's the administrative offices where you deal with license suspensions that have been closed, things like that. If those types of shutdowns have affected your business, then we do the intake call and say, yeah, let's gather some more documents. We'll get those together, and then the next step after we get some documents is you will actually get on the phone with a lawyer who will talk through the facts of your case and see if we can't make things happen. So yeah, it's a pretty nice process that we've built out. We try to make it easy. If it's a bigger firm that has a lot of administrative support, not like legal admin, but firm admin.
Yeah.
We've got emails that authorize us to reach out directly to bookkeepers and CPAs and the office manager. So if there's an owner of a firm that just doesn't want to be bothered by this, we've got a process in place for that. And then for the smaller firms that may only have 2 or 3 or 5 employees, we can work directly with the owner and make it work. And I've found that most of our clients are pleasantly surprised at how little effort they have to put in, other than getting some documents to us.
Yeah. I mean, all right, attorneys and elder law attorneys, listen up. I know your numbers, and guess what? Nursing homes were shut down. I know what 2020 looked like for you all. So listen to what Adam has to say. Your investment, 10 minutes of time. That's it. Book a call and go to the website, and we'll put it in the show notes for those of you that are walking, exercising, driving, what have you. It's rustbeltlegal.com/credit, correct?
That's right. And that's
okay.
So great. Elder law firms are a really good example. I focused a lot on firms that go to court, but elder law firms, you're absolutely right. Nursing homes were shut down. There were restrictions. There were limitations. It's funny. The one big exception we've seen is business law firms where there's a challenge with them if they don't spend a lot of time in court, and some real estate firms. But all the other types of law firms, bankruptcy, criminal defense, personal injury, it's not a question of if they qualify. It's a question of how long can we stretch this out. And the more quarters we can get, again, up to 7,000 per employee per quarter, if we can get that qualification to go an extra quarter. So yeah, that you're absolutely right. Minimal investment. And at least you have the certainty too. Maybe you call us and we say, yeah, you don't have a chance. But man, I would rather have that news than find out three years from now I could have had an extra $1 million.
And everybody could use an extra $1 million. I've seen all your marketing plans, and I know what you want. I know what your goals are to double your revenue next year. There you go. Merry Christmas.
Well, plus,
you have it.
Let's imagine, Molly, we know that there's incredible upward pressure on wages right now. And some law firms are ahead of it and they're raising their rates before the employees ask for a raise. But that's going to have pretty significant effects on cash flow for businesses too, especially law firms. Our biggest expense is payroll. We know we're going to have to pay more. So, man, a little extra cash in the bank may not be a bad idea, because who knows where these wages are going for people. I mean, it's
ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, right now, the unemployment rate for attorneys is 0.9%, paralegals under 2%. And, I interviewed a guy this morning, and, what he wanted in regards to salary as a 3-year attorney, won 175 base. I'm like, what? Are you out of your mind? And he wasn't in downtown San Francisco or what have you, but it's just incredible the wages right now that it's an employee market, and I don't see it changing for quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for sure. Every business is facing it, but law firms in particular. I mean, wages are really, really on their way up. And you talk to any law firm owner, and we already thought we were overpaying for a lot of our employees, and they were underperforming. So now there's other solutions to that problem, but having more cash in the bank certainly wouldn't hurt in that situation.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness, Adam, I am deeply grateful that my friend Tim told me about you, and I'm delighted that we were able to get you on this podcast and recorded. And I am going to share this with every attorney that we know and have, because you're crazy if you can't invest 10 minutes. Hey, here's a question too. Could my PLA or my COO hop on that discovery call? Does it have to be the attorney?
It doesn't have to be the attorney. Yeah, if there's an office manager who knows, again, a little bit about the financials and a little bit about the impact of shutdown orders, yeah, that's fine. And then I'll say jokingly too, and as long as they have access to your credit card, so they can make a deposit. But yeah, I mean that's perfectly fine.
Great. Oh, Adam, thank you so much for your time, for your wealth and knowledge, and for your tenacity to just uncover this program for entrepreneurs, because we all got whacked really hard. And, it's just such a beautiful thing to have a business attorney like you, that like I said, your tenacity and determination to find the or, not the and.
Yeah. Well,
right?
It feels good taking money from the IRS and putting it in the hands of business owners. So even if people don't use our firm for this, and again, we got limited capacity too, even if you don't use our firm, go to that landing page and at least read the misconceptions and understand what you may or may not be getting into for this. I mean, it's really, I don't know, I want to run up and down the street and jump up and down and scream and yell, because so many people are getting this wrong. And I don't like it. So let's at least hit the landing page to see the misconceptions so you can understand what you may be missing out on.
Yes. Okay. Great work. And thank you. And we'll have all the goodies in the links. We'll have, connection with Adam on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the places, his website.
RustBeltLegal.com.
All right. That's a wrap. Until next time, continue being leaders leading leaders. If you like what you hear on our podcast, please feel free to visit our website at hiringandempoweringsolutions.com. So we love that you are listening to this podcast. Please drop us a line with any feedback, suggested topics you'd like to hear. And absolutely, we'd love to hear about your victories and your win in regards to creating entrepreneurs in an entrepreneur's world.